The piano lesson he taught Amanda was so very different. She, for the first half hour, felt like she was just performing. Mr. Faber spoke very little. Then, she would start again. For the next 30 minutes, the two of them bounced back and forth with only small portions of the piece, the same passage, over and over again. And Mr. Faber would say, "Ah, there we go, that was the one. That's it. Did you hear the difference?" You know, after they do it over and over again. She would say, "Yeah, that felt good, yeah." I was like, I didn't hear any difference. It all sounded good to me. But hearing Faber explain the difference afterwards got me to hear it just a little bit, you know? All I thought was it worth it to play it that many times just to get the right sound? Mr. Faber's question to me before I left was, "Did you learn something?" I said, "Yes, of course." But in reality, I did not get what I hoped to get. What I wanted was to see how one would approach a new piece. But what I got was a performance plus a whole bunch of experiments. The patience of the student was something else too. As if she did not have a deadline. You know, just experimenting with one phrase until it was right. I was still clueless as to how to start learning the Chopin scherzo. On the ride home, I looked at the sheet music Faber gave me. I counted the pages, 12 pages. So if I did 2 pages a day, I might have a chance. For the week, I tried to learn 2 pages a day, but I couldn't. Time flew by. I did schedule 3 hours a day just to be at the piano looking at this piece. I had never seen this many accidentals before in my life, and I had to slow down just to figure them out. There were some strange harmonies as well. Now, looking at it, it's a kind of funny how hard of a time I had with it, but I did. In 5 days, I only got through the first 7 pages, and that's with 3 hours a day, you know, just to get comfortable playing them. Nowhere near memorizing it. So on Thursday, I panicked a little and went back to the first page and played it over and over again, working hard. It pays to work hard. The day before lesson, yep, I tried to play it by memory, but 2 lines in and I forget and I got frustrated. Finally, I just watched the movie before I went to bed. After school the next day, I went to Faber really nervous. This time, he had me sit at the piano, and this time, I wanted to sit at the couch. No cookies, no orange juice. He even said, "Time is short, and we must get to it." His first question to me was, "Did I practice it?" And I said, "Of course." He says, "Great. How long?" I said, 2.5 to 3 hours. "Great. Show me." So I opened the book and put it on the music rack. Faber immediately said, "What are you doing?" "Play it by memory." I looked at him and felt the chill and said, "I don't have it by memory." He said, "No, that's not true. You practice 3 hours a day. It's not possible that you didn't memorize a single thing. Just give it a shot." He said, and I said, I really don't have it by memory." He said, Okay. Hand me the book." I didn't. He said, Don't worry. I'm going to help you today." So I handed him the book and I started playing. After the opening chords, he immediately stopped me and said, "Whoa, slow. I was surprised. I actually got it up to a good speed. He said, "Slow." So I did. Oh man, it was harder. Very little muscle memory. But I saw notes in my head. I played, and he kept saying, "Take it easy, slow down, slow." And because of that, I played by memory through many parts. And the parts that I forgot, he either told me the notes or walked over to show me But then he would immediately keep the music with him, and I would continue doing the memory test as he followed along with the score. When I got to the 7th page, I stopped. He looked up and said, What happened? I said, I ran out of time. I only got that far. He smiled and said, Oh, don't worry. I didn't expect this much. You did good work. Hearing him say that, I relaxed a little bit. So I asked him, I thought you wanted me to memorize the whole thing. He said, Of course. I said 1 week on your own. I didn't say you're toast if you don't memorize it. Ask yourself this. Would you have learned this much if I didn't ask you to memorize it? I said, probably not. You at least try to rise to the challenge. That is good. Here is the music. You can read through the rest. I said, Right now? Yes, right now. Oh, my sight reading is really slow. A lot of accidentals, and it's going to be so embarrassing. I can't believe he's asking me to sight read in front of him. I was getting really nervous. He said, We still have 30 minutes. So I took the book and I started reading. It was then I realized that the rest of the pages was just repeating the parts that I had already memorized. Yes, memorized. For the first time, I realized I memorized it. I said quietly to Mr. Faber, It's the same. That is when Mr. Faber burst out laughing. He said, Yes! The only thing left is the last page, the coda. When he laughed, I felt better too. He then joked and said, Do you want a cookie? I said, No, thank you. He sat up straight and he asked me, Would you have learned that last page if you realized that it was not 12 pages, but only 5 pages? I was shocked. I said, What? Only 5 pages? I immediately looked at the book, flipping it back and forth, spotting all the repeats. And Faber just sat there waiting for me to finish my observation. I just about kicked myself. Yes, it's about 5 pages of material that's new and not repeated. I told Mr. Faber I've counted the pages and divided by 7 and tried it, had a goal, 2 pages a day. It just didn't work. I feel really stupid now not seeing those repeats. He said, No, I'm just, you did what most people do. And your method shows discipline, work ethic, and persistence. It just wasn't strategic. I burst out and I said, Why didn't you just tell me that in the first place? I could have learned it in 5 days. Aha! Do you see why the Chopin is a 3-day piece now? I nodded, mind blown. Okay, if I told you this first, you would have still been intimidated. You might even feel like I'm pushing you too much. Oh, the Juilliard teacher, of course, he can learn it in 5 days. Oh, it's easy for him. All right, he went to Juilliard, blah, blah, blah. You think I haven't heard that all throughout my life, right? Okay, it's either that or you're a slacker. A slacker would find out that it's only 5 pages and not practice until the last days. You see? Either way, it was not strategic for you. He then said, I don't plan lessons. I have no idea how I should teach you next week. You told me you're ready for this piece. I was puzzled. What? He said, I got to know you a little bit from our conversation. Besides, if you can play that Polonaise for 6 months, I figured you have the capacity to do this one. You persist. I know you can work hard. Now, today, you just experienced working smart. Besides, if you did it my way from the beginning, you would not have felt the victory. Would you feel the value of this little lesson if I just handed it to you? It will still be me pushing you. I'd rather bring out the talents I said you have, and you don't even know what talents you have, do you? I said, no, I don't. He continued, students always feel intimidated. It is not easy to turn off. Did Amanda look intimidated last week? I don't think so. So, I figured, you're intimidated anyway. I took a risk with you. Now, you see the value of this simple lesson. The lesson itself, it's nothing. It's basically look before you leap, look both ways before you cross the street, analyze first. Who haven't heard that before, right? Right? The experience in context is everything. I asked him, I thought it was sight reading. He said, no, good sight reading is a side effect. I was like, wow, ding, the doorbell rang, and I was like, oh, come on. Time was short. He quickly said to me, 2 things I want you to remember. Number 1, always analyze. Number 2, don't forget to memory test. And don't practice the parts you already know well. Save time. Your assignment, your goal is to perform it for me next week. And we will have a lesson just like what you saw with Amanda. I said hi to Amanda, smiling ear to ear. As I was walking out, I went home and watched the movie.